Today's video is brought to you by 1st Phorm. This is a pro-freedom supplement and nutrition company. And when I think of their products for you, I think of adding value to your life. And there is one product of theirs that I use more frequently than anything else that they make, and that is their meat sticks. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. Eat it on the go when you get hungry. This channel is sponsored by them. I'm literally doing an ad for them right now, and I purchased these. So what I suggest you do is go down in the pinned comment, use the link that I have listed there. That is an affiliate link. It generates sales for the channel, and let them know that I sent you. Special thanks to 1st Phorm for making today's video possible. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, everybody. And I got to admit, I'm a little bit excited. I'm kind of amped up about today's topic. So much so that I think that this afternoon or evening, somewhere in there, we might do a live stream where we discuss really anything that you want. We could talk about this. We could talk about the SIG versus Glock situation, the Vogel debacle, or anything else that you really want to talk about. We can talk about Warhammer if you want. But anyway, today's story presents as hard politics, but I assure you that it is integral to our fight to restore the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment movement, and everything. And that is that the Justice Department has launched an investigation into ActBlue. For those of you who don't know what that is, I'm about to learn you. ActBlue is the money machine for all things associated with the left. And I'm not trying to say that the right isn't complicit in a lot of the stuff that we have to deal with. I mean, just look at the most recent crap with the big beautiful backstab that we just absolutely got screwed on as far as Second Amendment community is concerned. That was all Republican. But when it comes to the pushing for the gun control, the money for those initiatives comes from ActBlue. That's where all the funds are cleaned, folks. The money laundering organization of the left is ActBlue. And for it to be investigated is a big, big deal, because it will almost certainly yield some level of fraud discovery that could result in the disbanding of the organization.
There was a new memo signed on Thursday directing the Attorney General to investigate if foreign nationals are using the ActBlue platform to bypass campaign finance laws.
Pick a candidate that is pushed for gun control, and I guarantee you will find two things: APAC and ActBlue, among other things. But there's a whole lot of back and forth transfer between all of the smaller anti-gun groups, those that conduct the litigation, those that do the marches, those that put the people in the protest positions and bust them in, all that sort of stuff. All of it is filtered through ActBlue in an effort to conceal all the sources and the various activities of what goes on at the kind of baser levels within that reckless movement. Not only do they fund the overtly anti-gun organizations and candidates, but they also do things like sponsor spoiler candidates to keep various candidates out of office, like the Blake Masters situation, for instance.
This is designed to kill people. But if you're not a bad guy, I support your right to own one. The Second Amendment is not about duck hunting.
One congressman or one senator that does not march the collective drum is dangerous. They absolutely do not want somebody like that, who's unapologetic about it, to be in there sponsoring legislation. And so ActBlue does absolutely act to prevent candidates like that, both overtly and covertly, from being part of the political discussion. What it means to put ActBlue under investigation is they're going to have to spend a lot of money to defend those sorts of probes. And if they are forced to disband through uncovering of some kind of fraud, then they're really going to have two options. They're either going to have to co-opt another organization and shift everything around, or they're going to have to build it back from the ground up. So this will absolutely not stop the ideology of anti-American, anti-Constitution, anti-Second Amendment. But what it will do is throw a wrench in the machinery, and my mind goes to a couple different places here, especially given the time frame. Right now, we have a bunch of cases that are in the court system. We also have some legislative efforts and a midterm election coming up. So the first one, the court cases, there will almost certainly be an attempt to adulterate some of the court proceedings as it relates to Second Amendment litigation, because right now the government has postured itself to be a little bit more friendly to the Second Amendment movement than it has been in previous years, and they don't like that. So there will very likely, and they've already said they're going to do this, attempts to intervene in some of those cases by some of these anti-gun groups to try to force the position of the federal government, even though John Sauer, the Solicitor General, wasn't going to take those positions. So with the proverbial bank under investigation, some of those funds may not be able to make it to their ultimate destination, and that could disrupt those sort of efforts. Legislatively, well, I don't need to explain to you how the game is played with the greasing of the wheels behind the scenes with dollar bills, so to speak. But also when it comes to midterm elections, there could be less money to go around for particular candidates that are espousing particular ideologies because, well, if you're under investigation, you're very careful about where those funds go, how it's documented, and all the stuff that would be free and loose, like during the previous election cycle, where an ungodly amount of money was put out. There might be a little bit more frugality, especially because Cackles bankrupted them. The last point that I would make is right now there's a lot of executive actions going on, and those executive rules we have seen start to roll out, like the felon in possession stuff, restoration of felon rights. To fight those, we've been on that side before. It takes an extreme amount of money. And that just may not be there this go around, which is a very interesting thought. I mean, just to even force your drones to go out there and send emails and leave comments takes a lot of effort. I mean, you got to buy them gift cards to Whole Foods and all that sort of stuff. It's not cheap to shop there. Ultimately, the reason that I am super duper jacked up about this, and I think that you ought to be pretty excited about it as well, it is very likely that the gun control movement, at least in the imminent future, is going to become a wet noodle. Take that spine away that was built only on money and lots of it, and you're just going to end up like the rest of the folks involved, feckless and without any substance. And that is pretty exciting. In closing, I'm going to ask you guys for a favor. I put out a poll a couple days ago asking how much traffic you guys are seeing from me. And it is clear that our content is not being distributed to you guys. It probably has something to do with that APAC comment that I made a little bit earlier, but there's always these algorithmic shifts, and we know that the one thing that does absolutely work is engagement. Saw it on the last video. If you guys feel so inclined, interact with the video in some way, hit the like button, leave an emoji comment or some random off-the-wall fact or something like that. And if you feel so inclined, then share it out on all of your applicable platforms. And I greatly appreciate your support in spreading the message. Later on, folks.